Thank you, listeners, for joining us. It is time for Elko Live today. It's Wednesday in advance of the regular County Commission meeting, but today we have special guests who are here from Elko County Public Guardian and Social Services, and we're going to get right to that discussion because there is a lot to talk about during this season. I just wanted to start off by mentioning the commissioners do meet in regular session at 1:30 today. That will be followed by a Board of Health meeting at 3 o'clock. The Elko County Fair Board, they're going to be meeting across town at Shutters on East Idaho Street. They've reserved the Humboldt Room, and this is a Fair Board meeting that had to be rescheduled due to weather last week, so they're going to meet this evening at 5:30, and then back to the Elko County Commission meeting room for the school capital meeting. This is the first meeting of this new governing board, or advising panel, I should say. Their meeting is going to be at 6 o'clock tonight back in the commission chambers. So it's a busy day for anyone involved with Elko County government. Planning commissioners meet tomorrow at 5:15 in the downtown courthouse or the complex meeting room there in Nanini Administrative Building. The planning meeting's at 5:15. The Board to Manage Wildlife, their meeting is next Monday, the 22nd at 6, and they've got an important agenda item. Well, they always have important agenda items. They're getting organized in the new year. Board of Wildlife is looking at establishing a moose hunting season, so if you're interested in that, you want to be on hand for that meeting. Planning Commissioner looks pretty straightforward. School capital, again, tonight, they are looking at a $65 million, the initial plans anyway, for this Owyhee School, so that's kind of exciting news. Money that was allocated by state lawmakers. So that meeting, the first meeting of the new year for this board, is 6 o'clock tonight. Fair Board is planning for the fair in 2024, so if you're interested in that. Board of Health, they always have a fascinating agenda. They deal with a lot of issues, which I'm sure we'll visit with our guest today, interface with, what's going on in the community, the health and wellness of our community. And again, commissioners, the big agenda item for them today, I just wanted to make note, we're getting, as the public and as the board, the first look at what is being called the Campus Layout Proposed Judicial Complex. It's just a proposal. I think there are at least two different options for an Elko County Justice Center. It's an $88 million prospect. So something that, and it realigns a lot of the county departments and services. This is just the first look. This is not any decision making other than just, I think, moving forward on the project. There'll be some community meetings according to what's scheduled or what's being discussed today on the agenda. So, wow, Happy New Year. It's 2024, full speed ahead. And I'd like to welcome Kathy Jones in studio today. She's our Elko County Public Guardian and has been for some time. And also her Deputy Public Guardian is Ashley Gurr. Welcome, Kathy. It's great to see you.
Thanks for having us.
We love having you here. And Ashley, thank you so much for your great work and helping Kathy.
Yes, thank you for your time.
Absolutely. This is a great opportunity to find out more about our Public Guardian and Social Services program. Now, the last time we talked, we learned that the Elko County Public Guardian does serve as a guardian. It's by court appointment for vulnerable adults, somebody 18 or older, unable to manage their personal and or financial affairs. The public guardian coordinates the provision of services, provides informed consent, protects, preserves, and manages the assets of protected people. So, Kathy, that's you've been busy since the last time we talked, right?
Yes, it's been a very busy year. I have a full caseload right now, and so my caseload is spread out throughout the state right now.
Really?
So I have a couple other protected persons in Idaho as well. So yeah, it's busy.
And these are, about how many cases? I think last time we talked there were a couple of dozen at least.
I have 23.
23, so just shy of a couple dozen. Mm-hmm. But do you ever have to turn away cases, Kathy?
I do, but I look at them very extensively, and if they don't fit the criteria, if they don't meet the NRS, or if they could manage with a rep payee or a supported decision maker, I do not feel that they need that extensive public guardian type services. Being a public guardian or being a guardian is very, it takes away a lot of rights of people once in a while, and you don't want to put that on somebody if they don't need it.
And that's why it's important to emphasize, as Kathy Jones has described, this is a court-ordered process or court-informed.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So usually you initiate the process, or someone else, a concerned person, might initiate?
Yes, I'm last resort since I am the public guardian. So if I can find family members or a person that is close to the person, that is where we go. And that, of course, if there's a power of attorney, sometimes that is the way we go, or a supported decision maker, or we do rep payee services in our office as well. And so we always go least restrictive first.
All right. And I know Ashley's going to fill in a lot of blanks for us. We want to get right to the heart of some of the issues, including, the quality of life. People may be suffering healthcare issues. We also have problems with affordable housing, right, or people who need assistance.
Yeah. In Elko, affordable housing is a problem, or even trying to find affordable housing right now, we have a problem with. And our elderly is having a problem with that right now, or just finding housing. And then you might be able to find that housing, but it's not accessible to healthcare, grocery stores, transportation. So that's a problem right now, too.
So what would you suggest if someone does need assistance? I could think of a typical example where a retired person thought that all along their Social Security might cover their bills. For example, when they retired, they have a limited income, correct? But expenses are rising.
Well, we do have a program in our office that we help with the assisted living, and I'll let Ashley talk about that. We do have a rep payee program, and there is assistance to help with medications within other services within Elko County. There's, Medicaid services for the elderly. Get My Ride with Elko County helps with transportation. There's so many other providers within Elko County that helps with that as well, too.
Well, thanks, Kathy. We'll shift gears a little bit and talk with you, Ashley. As I mentioned, Ashley Gurr is our Deputy Public Guardian. And so have you been seeing people who need rental or utility assistance?
Yeah, especially right now with it being cold and getting colder in the evenings, we've seen an increase for sure in people coming in looking for utility assistance, especially with the cost of utilities going up. The cost of propane, gas, electric it's jumped quite a bit over the last couple of months, and we've seen a pretty big increase in that.
So I think that Kathy mentioned there are different programs that can help people, right? Is that something that you assist people with?
Yep. So in our office, we do provide rental assistance. We can help with up to 2 months. It depends on what the situation is, with up to 2 months in a 12-month period. All of our programs are income based, so it all depends on how much you make. But we do have 2 different grants and then Elko County funding that can help with that. And they all have different income guidelines. So it just depends on where you fall on what program we can get you in to help you with that. And that's the same with our utility assistance as well.
I realized, Ashley, we sort of shifted gears quickly. We were talking about public guardians, so people listening might think, oh, is this just for senior citizens? But these are social services for anybody in need?
Yep, any resident of Elko County, yes.
Okay. And are you seeing anything that's typical, I guess, this time of year? I mean, we hear a lot in the statewide news, even about evictions. I know it's not something I've reported on locally. It seems like it's such a personal tragedy that it wouldn't really be elevated to, local news departments. People are embarrassed if they are evicted from their home.
Yeah, and we just like to reiterate when people come in, it's really important to not wait until you are in the end of an eviction process. For sure, reach out to us before you get to that point. It does take some time to go through the process of applying for these programs that we have. And so we just want to reiterate that if you're struggling, please reach out to us sooner rather than later. We really want to assist, and it just takes some time sometimes to get there.
I can imagine having this conversation with both our public guardian and social services, that you have a lot of collaborators, people that you work with commonly, Ashley?
Yeah, we work with a lot of the other agencies throughout the area. If it's something that we can't help with, we try and connect people with other resources throughout the community. So we try and keep people or help them get access to whatever we have throughout the county.
And then we do know, in talking with Kathy Jones as well, we've heard from, say, an agency like Vitality Unlimited Program Services. They have now a mobile therapy van that goes out, and they've talked a lot about the outreach they're doing. Sometimes they try to help people just get copies of the documents they need, right?
Yes, we do have a service in our office where they can get a certified copy of their birth certificate, and Ashley does help them with that. You know, getting your birth certificate just to get your driver's license is very important, and we do help with that. So, you know, you can come to Ashley, fill out an application, and Ashley will help you get your birth certificate.
And the birth certificates, we can help with any state. So as long as you're a resident of Elko County, we can help you with that process, with the application and the cost of that.
And then there's something known as assisted living assistance. Is that something that you wanted to talk about, Ashley?
Yeah, so in coordination with Highland Inn, we do provide assistance to the elderly they're receiving the proper level of care in assisted living, and with the cost of that, because it can get expensive.
So that's important to know as well, because often we will find a situation where someone has been neglected, for example, a family member, or maybe they've been isolated and they didn't realize that their mental health was declining, or their physical health, right?
Well, and that's also a step where you don't have to do a guardianship as well. That's a least restrictive alternative to a guardianship. We can help them get a place in the assisted living that helps them with their medications, and they don't have to go out to grocery shop, and somebody's kind of watching them. There's another set of eyes on them, so that helps as well.
Do you think that we have enough services available in the county or the community, Kathy?
You know, I think we could use more. I think after COVID, a lot of our services went away, and we were building them services up before COVID. And then after COVID, it seems like a lot of our services kind of dwindled. I wish we could build some of those up again, and I hope someday that people are working to build those up again.
Would you mind maybe talking about or describing some of the services that came to mind, and then that way we can create more awareness, if that's okay, if something comes to mind?
We used to have a meeting at the hospital where all of the providers got together, and that was very, very good for all of us providers, because we all got on the same page to help those people that would get released from the hospital, and we all talked to help that person with that release from that hospital, and we all worked together to coordinate a very good release for that person. And I don't see that anymore, so that is one of the things that I think we could make better. So something like that. We worked with Lincare, Norco, the pharmacies, that type of thing.
We just need to strengthen our relationships again.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Take some organization. I've said the same thing. We've had, in the past, we had something called the Elko Ministerial Alliance, and all the religious leaders, and then it became ERLA, Elko Religious Leaders Association, and it seemed like the community was better for those relationships. As you said, they were warm handoffs, and people were more aware.
Yes, I agree. I think that the medical community could, go to the health meeting today and strengthen those as well, and work together and maybe help those people that are getting released from the hospital and strengthen those relationships so that they don't end up back in the hospital 2 weeks later.
Yeah, those are really good points, Kathy, and I don't think anyone minds talking about that. Those are why we talk about the issues. We're not pointing fingers. We're just saying, oh, hey, by the way, slip through the cracks here.
Yeah, I'm not pointing fingers. I just want to help our community to strengthen and help our elderly and our vulnerable.
Yeah, so that's an opportunity there. Were you thinking of anything, Ashley?
Another area where I think that we could help our community members a little bit more is when people are released from the hospital, especially from communities that are outside Elko or even Spring Creek, and they're brought in via ambulance or another means of transportation. They don't have a way to get home. We get calls on that a lot for trying to coordinate this. Like we have a great transit department with Elko County, but we still struggle when these people need to get out of the hospital to get them home. So that's something that I would like to see kind of get built up as well.
Sounds like a great opportunity, as you said, to reach out to local healthcare providers. The healthcare meeting, as we mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, it's the Elko County Health Board. It is at 3 o'clock in the County Commission chambers. They do have, an open public comment, but it's a really good update. You can watch online, elkocountynv.net too. So let's get our arms around that in the new year and see if we can make a difference. I appreciate that you both brought that up. I think it's an important point. So in other ways that people might need assistance, obviously the most common might be with food, right, Ashley?
Yeah, and we do in coordination with SAFE, which I always forget the abbreviation, Senior Advocates
For the elderly.
And they help us with food bags that we can give out. So we do have that through our office, and then there's other resources within the community, such as fish and stuff, where the food bank and stuff to get food as well.
We noticed too in our regular conversations with Matt McCarty from the Terrace, the Senior Center, they're really starting to rally too behind some of these senior programs and efforts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we work with Matt a little bit he had a food bank there, and we send some of our folks to the food bank, and he's been very helpful with that. And SAFE, our coordination with them has been very well. They've helped us a lot, and we've helped a lot of vulnerable and elderly people this winter and this fall.
And there are some specific programs, right, Ashley, such as WIC, Women, Infants, and Children, that people might qualify for. I know you're not welfare, but that's a good opportunity to talk about. You're not welfare.
Exactly. Well, and we can direct people to the welfare office, give them phone numbers. So if they do reach out to us, we can give that to them. But unfortunately, through our office, we're not connected to the state system, and we can't give them updates on their Medicaid application or energy assistance application. We are an intake site for energy assistance, and we're more than happy to help people with submitting that application in particular, but unfortunately we cannot give updates on where the state is on their applications.
I think in the past, too, we've talked about it when the Elko County librarians come on, and Cassie Antonucci, the library picks up a lot of this where people are looking for information, right, or trying to find out if their application's received.
Yeah, I think a lot of the Elko County offices, a few of us anyways, we get quite a bit of phone call or traffic for that kind of information.
So hopefully that will help. And again, we're talking with the Elko County Public Guardian and our social services divisions within Elko County, not state welfare, but can refer to resources or answer some questions regarding Medicaid, food stamps, the Energy Assistance Program. And remind me what TANF stands for?
It's temporary assistance for needy families. I believe I got that right. So it's a cash assistance through the state welfare office.
Okay. We're having a good conversation about people in need in our community. And a lot of times I think because they're visible, there are conversations about the homeless. And we just heard Kathy and Ashley from city officials, both our city manager and the city vice mayor. There's some consternation and people don't know what to do now because we aren't able to provide housing for homeless when the temperature hits 0 degrees. And I think that's actually an ordinance that the city approved if housing's available.
Yeah, we don't provide housing, but we do provide train tickets to those homeless people to get them out of the elements, to get them to the next homeless shelter. And we would rather do that than have them end up in the hospital with frozen feet, frozen hands, and, with the elements. So, have them come to our office. They do have to have some sort of an ID to get onto the train. So we do provide that.
Yep, we do. It's pretty easy to come in and apply. We do a little bit of a check on the person before we send them out of here. But yeah, we can definitely help with the cost of a train ticket to get them to the nearest homeless shelter.
Right, shelters in bigger cities that can accommodate, and sometimes it might be to the next city where they actually have family or friends who would welcome them too. Sometimes people get stranded here.
Yeah, and there is shelters that have social workers that can help them, maybe get a job, maybe even food, hospital care. We don't have the hospital care that will help them with that, what they need, mental health care. So, we try to encourage them to go to the next homeless shelter.
So there is also another population that's vulnerable, and veterans in particular. Any programs or services we want to mention to help veterans, Kathy?
We do connect with the veterans, and we do have, in fact, we had some veterans come to, some veteran services come to our office right before Christmas. So we do have those services where we can connect to them. So we do help those veterans. So if veterans do come to our office, we can have that information ready for them.
And what we're trying to remind people is that often there are resources available, but if people don't know about them or they don't, follow through or check into them, that's when the situation can get dire, right, Ashley? And I think everything you've been saying is you'd rather see people earlier on in the process.
Yeah, and the sooner that you come in and help or ask for assistance or apply for assistance, the sooner we can help you. It just takes, it can take up to 30 days to approve or deny an application, but if you come in sooner and you provide all the documentation, a lot of the times we can help faster than the 30 days.
Another population that might be vulnerable that I think of, because I sit on the Committee Against Domestic Violence, the board, is victims of domestic violence. Often abused people are reluctant to leave their homes because they don't have the financial resources. They have children. Often they have pets, right? Ashley's nodding, so's Kathy.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those populations that need assistance for sure.
And you've been able to help them in your office.
Yeah, we've had a few CADVs sometimes will reach out. They obviously don't share names or anything, but they reach out to get information to provide that information to who they have in their shelter.
Yeah, I'm glad you emphasized that. You're right. Committee Against Domestic Violence is very confidential. Their services are free. They provide a wide range from just the immediate shelter at Harbor House for 24 hours, 365, and you will get a team of providers who will come to literally your rescue. So, yeah,
they provide a very good service in our community.
Talking with Kathy Jones, who is our public guardian. And Kathy, you've been at this for a while, right?
Well, I just got appointed for another 4 years in December, so I'm at least going to try for another 4 years before I retire. So it's been almost 22 years I've been at it.
Well, we sure appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
As long as I keep enjoying my work, I'll be here.
Yes, and I think as long as you have Ashley by your side, right? It seems that you two work really well together.
Yeah, she might have to push me down the hall in a wheelchair, but
I've already told her I'd help her do that. We've practiced.
Yes, and that's something about working with social services agencies. It really does help you hone your empathy skills.
Yeah, I do want to mention that we do have wheelchairs and walkers that we check out like a library in our office if anybody needs a wheelchair or a walker, and those were donated by SAFE as well. And so if anybody has the need or has visitors that come and need a wheelchair or a walker, come and check them out. All we ask is that you check them back in as if clean and still in great use.
Ready for the next person. Since we're speaking of that, what is the best way to reach the public guardian or social services with Elko County?
We are at 540 Court Street, and we are in the Mike Nannini building. And my phone number is 775-748-0203. And you can look on the Elko County website, and we are on the website as well.
Yeah, it's a very easy to find link there at elkocountynv.net. And for you, Ashley, are you normally in the office there on the second floor?
We are actually on the first floor again, so we're in Suite 105. But yeah, I am usually there, and my number is 775-748-0200, and that's directly to me.
Okay. So we're also at a point where, Kathy, we can maybe switch back over to you and talk about, so if someone's listening and they're concerned about someone, right? The public guardian's office is not for immediate emergency help, right? We want to make that clear.
Yes, I cannot do house visits. I do not do emergency visits on somebody that might be hurt or needing assistance. I do tell them to call Elder Protective, Adult Protective, if they have a concern, or the police department. However, if they want to put in a report for a guardianship, I will take that. A lot of times I do know the person that they're probably calling about, and I do get quite a few calls, and I do take in notes that, this person, I've received quite a few calls on this person, I'm probably going to get something else on this person. So it does add up, and eventually I probably will get a call from the hospital or something like that on that person.
Right. Public guardianship is not an immediate emergency intervention. So if you do have suspicion of elder abuse, neglect, or exploitation, you can report it to local law enforcement. And then there's also a Nevada Guardianship Compliance Office. And do you recommend that?
Yes, they can call that office.
There's a fraud hotline at 1-833-421-7711. And I have these numbers here at the radio station if you're driving and you can't write things down. So we can certainly provide those. I also wanted to point out, Kathy, that sometimes your good work and your literal guardianship in the community can lead to legislation. And that happened on the last session, right?
Yes, we passed SB 61, which was it started actually with a case that I had in my office on a joint bank account, and one of my elderly people had a joint bank account with another family member, and that family member drained the bank account. And it with the SB 61 passing, it made it so that with joint bank accounts with the elderly person or a vulnerable person, that person cannot drain the bank account. And so it was a win-win situation for the elderly person. The reason being is because, a lot of the elderly people work for their retirement, and usually that money's for their nursing home care. It isn't for,
Inheritance.
And they need that to take care of themselves. And so it was a win situation for our elderly people.
Thank you, Kathy, for anyone can look that up, SB 61, and again realize the helpful impacts of that in protecting resources for some of our most vulnerable citizens. And then there might also be a question where there's a long distance situation, right, Kathy? You field calls like that? Someone's worried about a parent or a loved one.
Yes, I get a lot of those, and so we call our local sheriff's office or our police department to do a welfare check. And we're very lucky with our sheriff's office. They kind of do welfare checks, and then they'll do another welfare check, and so we're very lucky that way.
Sometimes there might be some signs that someone is in distress, right? And they may not be aware of it. There might be some physical signs of, say, the home that they've lived in, all their lives.
Mm-hmm. Yes, out in our rural areas, a lot of the elderly people, they've lived there forever, but when they get older, they can't shovel the sidewalks, they can't put their cars in the garage anymore. It's hard, especially this last couple winters, it's really been hard. They can't put the plastic over their windows in the wintertime anymore like they used to, or bring wood in. And so just watch your neighbors and see if they go outside, see if you can see them through the windows or with their lights on, and just watch your neighbors.
And it's important to note, too, that at least with Kathy Jones' administration, you are always considering the least restrictive alternatives. This is not tattling on someone. This is not taking away their independence. This is simply being a good human being.
Yep, being a good neighbor.
So check on someone and know that there'll be someone else to help that person if they need the help. And if not,
Yes.
then it's fine, too. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Ashley, did we remind you of things you wanted to say, too?
So I wanted to just point out that one of the least restrictive options that is out there for individuals that need help is rep payee, so somebody who manages their Social Security funds to make sure that their housing is paid for, their utilities are paid for, and we do offer that through our office as well. We do have a representative payee program where we do help with managing Social Security funds for those individuals that need it, and just, to keep them more independent as long as possible.
Well, that is so nice to know that there are so many different social services that could be coordinated to fit any variety of needs. The community does support the social services of Elko County and the Public Guardian, right? We saw that at Festival of Trees.
Yeah, we've actually donated a tree to the Festival of Trees for the last 6 years, so we try and stay involved as much as we can.
Well, thank you for doing that. Thanks for your outreach, obviously, Ashley. And I hope we haven't missed any big topics. It seems like every time we'll have a conversation and then a couple of days will go by and someone will say, oh, I heard your program, but I wondered about this or that. And I always try to send them your way. But anything that we didn't cover today, Kathy, you want to make sure we get to?
I'm sure there's something we forgot, but
And then just another thing, we do have a sugar plum tree that we have every year, so this helps the elderly and children with Christmas gift assistance. We do it in coordination with the Elko County Library, so that's where you would pick the names off the tree if you ever are interested in that. This last year, we helped 75 children plus numerous senior citizens in our community with Christmas, so we just wanted to say thank you to everybody who helped with that.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Also, NGM and the Elaine Kruth Foundation donated money to us, and we bought gift cards. And with those gift cards, we give them out to those folks that can't afford prescriptions, or they're having trouble buying groceries, or they need gas money. We bought Smith's gift cards, so it's kind of neutral for prescriptions, gas, that type of thing. So those have came in very, very handy for those items that our other services don't provide.
And it sounds like that it could be something ongoing, too, if you had enough contribution. Talking to Matt McCarty this year, again, from the Senior Center, he said that was really the consensus. A lot of seniors said, I don't need stuff. We're downsizing, I don't want to manage stuff, but we need groceries, gas, we need to pay our utility bills.
Yeah.
Yep. And the cost of prescriptions for some people are very high, and so it's nice to be able to give them at least a little bit of financial assistance with that if they're pending insurance or Medicaid or anything like that.
That's a good point, too. Kathy?
Even with their Medicare D copays, it seems like even this year they've kind of gone up. So especially those people that are on insulin or inhalers and stuff, it's just outrageous. And so that could pay their copays, for prescriptions.
Again, the number, if anyone is listening and wants to reach out to Kathy Jones, who's our public guardian, 775-748-0203.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And then for social services, which again includes any number of, if you need assistance with rent, paying utilities, finding food, that kind of thing, maybe childcare. Ashley, I'm not sure.
We don't do a whole lot with childcare, but we can connect them with places that do.
Great. And the best place to reach, I didn't write down your number, but I will now.
It is 775-748-0200. And then our main office number, if for some reason you can't get a hold of us, is 775-738-4375.
4375, yes.
And we have a new person up front. Her name is Allie, and she answers the phone and is up front, and she's always anxious to help people up front too.
That's wonderful. And that's what we love to hear, is that we have caring people in these important positions, because often the first step is having the courage to ask for help.
Right.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah, that's a hard one. We're independent Nevadans. We do think that we can get by or we can get through it, but we all need a little help once in a while. So don't don't be shy to reach out and get that help. And speaking of Get My Ride, they're another great group, right, that will help people.
Right.
Yes, with those transportation needs. So if you need to get that shopping done, need help with the actual shopping, need to get to the doctor's appointment, need to get to the hair, to get your hair cut or your hair done. I mean, there are all kinds of things that we just take for granted when we're independent and can afford our own transportation or we're able to drive.
I believe Access to Healthcare too does a lot of rides for
Medical appointments.
medical appointments too.
Oh, nice to know. That's another group that I should actually reach out. Access to Healthcare. Thanks for reminding me. I forget that they are in our community too. Thank you both so much for being on the program. I think we've got to a lot of different topics today, Kathy and Ashley.
Yes, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. We meet this time almost every year, don't we?
We do. And I think I got you even on the calendar another time this year. So that's wonderful. Thank you so much. Reach out, ladies, anytime you see a need in the community that we can better communicate to our listeners so that we can be of assistance or we can assist those who need help. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
Thank you, listeners, for joining us for Elko Live today here on KELK. Our guests have been the Elko County Public Guardian and Social Services.